The Full Faith and Credit Act requires all courts, including federal courts, to respect state court judgments. The relitigation exception to the federal Anti-Injunction Act permits a federal court to enjoin state court proceedings if the injunction is necessary to protect or effectuate the federal court's judgment. In Parsons Steel Incorporated versus First Alabama Bank of Montgomery, the United States Supreme Court considered what happens when these doctrines intersect. Parsons Steel Incorporated owned a subsidiary that was heavily financed with loans from First Alabama Bank of Montgomery. After the subsidiary got into financial trouble, Parsons asked the bank to refinance the subsidiary's debt. At the bank's behest, Parsons allowed a third party to take over management of the subsidiary, which eventually went bankrupt. Parsons sued the bank in Alabama state court, alleging that the bank had fraudulently induced it to let the third party take over its subsidiary. 3 months later, Parsons filed a separate federal lawsuit, alleging that the bank had violated the Bank Company Holding Act. The federal lawsuit was tried first. A jury found for Parsons, but the district court granted the bank's motion for a judgment notwithstanding the verdict. The 11th Circuit affirmed the judgment. The Alabama lawsuit was tried second. The bank raised the defense of res judicata, arguing that Parsons' state and federal claims were based on the same facts, requiring Parsons to raise its state claims in the federal lawsuit. Because Parsons failed to do this, the bank argued that the state claims were precluded from litigation in state court. The Alabama court rejected the bank's res judicata defense, and a jury awarded Parsons $4 million in damages. Rather than appeal the judgment in Alabama, the bank went back to the district court and sought to enjoin Parsons from enforcing the state court judgment. The district court granted the injunction, reasoning that Parsons should have raised its state claims in the federal lawsuit, and that the Alabama court had erroneously permitted the relitigation of the claims. Parsons appealed to the 11th Circuit. The 11th Circuit affirmed the district court, holding that the injunction was authorized under the relitigation exception to the federal Anti-Injunction Act. Parsons appealed to the United States Supreme Court.